Hey everybody, welcome to Glory Hunters Podcast. I'm here with Glory Hunter Nick, and we're going to do the week of football. Sorry we didn't do the Friday episode, and one of the reasons we didn't do that is because every day we have a release of a new European team, kind of a unique way, unique roundtable that we're doing and trying this year. We'll probably do with other stuff in the future. So today, we're probably not going to talk too much about the Euros 2024, but we'll go over some of the side stories, a little short podcast for you, and maybe you can watch the videos. We got plenty of content all the way up to Friday at least. What's going on, Nick? How you been?
Pretty good. Really excited to see the Euros at the end of this week.
Yeah, it's going to be great for me because, like, I kind of think Germany's my adopted team, and I'm too bad they're playing Scotland because I kind of like to see, I like to root for Celtic teams, as you well know. That'd be a hard one. And then, of course, we got Copa America. So on the weekend, stay up, watch Team USA, see what Messi's up to. So, we got a great summer. Leagues Cup right after that, which is a tournament we really enjoyed here last year. Mexico versus MLS, or Liga MX versus MLS. So it's going to be an awesome summer. And by the time it's over, we're right back watching the Prem. So it never ends in the football world. So let's start out with some stuff that I found interesting. Man City and Barcelona are doing a deal with Joshua Kimmich this summer, who has been told by Bayern Munich that they will sell him if he does not agree to a new contract. What do you think of this? And why do you, I got to be honest with you, I think he's leaving a sinking ship to some extent, but it's also a huge loss. What do you think of this move if he goes anywhere at all?
Yeah, it's a huge loss for Bayern Munich because he's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's jumping from a sinking ship, or maybe it's just he's been at Bayern for a long part of his career. Maybe he wants like a new challenge potentially. I mean, two great sides to go to. Obviously, naturally, Manchester City are probably going to be the better option if you want to win something.
Yeah.
Because, they're going to see some potential big outgoings. There's a lot of talk of maybe a Bernardo Silva potentially leaving. There's all this talk of De Bruyne potentially going to like Saudi Arabia in a year.
Really?
Yeah, so, and then you look at their signings in the summer as well. Mateo Kovacic and Mateus Nunes in the middle, they've not really been great so far for Manchester City. So maybe they're thinking, do you know what, let's just buy another midfielder because these aren't working out. Obviously, everyone knew they wanted Lucas Paqueta, but now he's facing a potential lifetime ban or something crazy because of his yellow card scandal. So Joshua Kimmich, right, there's the spot right there for him in that midfield at City, but I don't know. I quite like his fit at Barcelona though.
Really?
Like,
does it give Barcelona a chance to actually take Real Madrid? Does it give him a chance to win a league? I don't know if it makes that much. Even as good as he is, I'm not taking anything away from him. I just can't see that being. I feel like they need him and another player to actually compete for the league with at the very least, and I still think it would be tight against Real Madrid.
Oh yeah, certainly. Like Real Madrid are a Goliath at the moment, so it's always going to be tough. But yeah, I suppose there's more of a challenge for him. I suppose with Arsenal coming up, City, it's going to be tougher. But yeah, I don't know. I think Barcelona aren't that far off of Real Madrid as long as they don't take heavy losses to their squad. So I think, Joshua Kimmich, maybe a couple other signings, and, Hansi Flick can get them really ticking. Obviously, worked really well with Kimmich before. Maybe they can mount a title charge. And, there's a lot more history there with Barcelona, that Barca shirt means a lot more than that Manchester City shirt does.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's an extra bit of draw. But yeah, I think both would be a good move for him, to be honest. If he wants something new, he wants out of Germany and to try another league, I think you can't go wrong with either Barcelona or Manchester City, I don't think.
From a personal standpoint, I'm no Bayern fan by any stretch, but I do want Harry Kane to succeed. And, this does make it a little more difficult for Kane to succeed with Joshua Kimmich out of the lineup. And that's too bad. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but if he's going to go anywhere, I hope he helps the Catalonians because that's my team in Spain. Let's see what else they got. Fearless Scotland prepared to take on Germany. I don't want to give away too much about what we talked about or who came up with it. All right, I'll say who came up with it and I'll talk about it. Our Glory Hunter Leach. He came up with this. Germany has had some problems with teams that sort of park the bus Certainly, Scotland's almost forced to do that when they're playing such a stacked team like Germany. Any chance at all, or any chance to keep it close for Scotland?
Well, I think 100%. Scotland aren't in great form going into this tournament, but like a year ago, they were in some really good form, to be fair. They even beat Spain at one
Yeah, yeah.
point and completely played them off the park. So, you know, they've certainly got it in them to shock a big team, as we've seen. And there's certainly talent in that squad with Robertson and Kieran Tierney if he's not injured. Scott McTominay turns into a goal scoring machine for them. He scored
Sometimes.
7 goals in qualifying.
Sure.
So I think, and like Leach was right when he speaks in that video, he goes into a lot more detail, but that has been a bit of an issue for Germany, trying to break down these tough defending sides. And so there's certainly always a chance that Scotland can sort of, roll with the punches, sort of put up with the pressure that Germany can put and, steal a goal on the break or something and come out with like a 1 or a 2-1 victory, or even like a 1-1 or a 0-0 would probably be a decent result if you're Scotland, to be fair. So I think I don't think it'll be a landslide result at all.
I don't get that feeling
but
either. I think it's a 2-1
Yeah.
victory for Germany. I can see that something like that, or maybe a 1-0 victory for Germany, and Germany struggles to get that one goal up there, and maybe they just don't have the firepower to put it in. But you did mention Tommy. I did forget that. Don't we also, my man McGregor? You haven't talked about him.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Also got Shankland's been absolutely banging him in Scotland, so maybe he can step up on the international stage.
God, I get such a mixed feeling about it because everybody's in my house is going to be rooting for Germany, and it's my kid. I think my kid. He's 8 now, but the World Cup's he remembers who won, obviously, but it's still a little gray to him. But this one he's going to definitely remember. This is his first kind of big tournament, so mixed feelings. Mixed feelings on that one. If anybody cares, Sir Alex Ferguson pushing for I can't Pochettino. Pochettino. That's correct, to be the new United coach. You mentioned before offline that Sir Alex got some bad history for as far as promoting coaches. But if I remember correctly, you also like Pochettino. How do you feel about this?
I think he might finally be getting one right here.
Oh, really?
So I spoke before about how I don't think Pochettino is the right fit for Chelsea at the moment, but I think he could certainly step into that United side and be a really good asset for them. He's a good coach at the end of the day, Pochettino, and United are in that tough sort of position where they're sort of lacking a style. They've got some good young players, some decent older players there. Yeah, they're in such a lost sort of position. I think Pochettino is the exact kind of coach that he can come in and give them stability that they need, to be honest. He's a calm head. He's known as a really good manager. You saw loads of Chelsea players sort of, kicking up a bit of a fuss when it was announced he was leaving Chelsea because they seem to all really like him and really stand by him. And so, you get this figure he's got a really good record at Tottenham Hotspur. At the end of the day, his year with Chelsea wasn't a complete catastrophe considering, he had so many new players to bring into a squad. It was a tough situation there as well. So I think, he's certainly got the leadership skills to bring stability to United that they need. He's a good tactical mind. He's good at bringing through young players, as he showed at Tottenham Hotspur. I think he would be a solid appointment if Erik ten Hag was to go.
And that's my next question for you. Why haven't we heard yet? I figure we'd have heard by now. Is there any chance they're going to bring back Ten Hag? I can't imagine.
I think they will. In all honesty, I think
Really?
if he was to go, I think they would have got rid of him by now.
Yeah,
right?
I get the same
There was
feeling.
all those talk about them having meetings a week or two ago about what they're going to do with the future of him and shit like that. It's surely if you're getting rid of Ten Hag, he's gone now. You have the clarity. You say, look, we're getting rid of him, and now you go through the process of getting your next coach. I don't see the benefit of keeping it so ambiguous and staying quiet on Ten Hag now if you're not if you're planning to get rid of him, like, what's the benefit, right? Surely you want the job to be open so you got people who are applying, and you can go through the whole process, and the players know a bit more of what's going on in the future. They know, okay, we're going to get a new coach. Whereas now, I'm sure even the players, if they haven't been informed privately, you're questioning what do you want to do? You want to know what's happening with the coach to know what you want to do with yourself as well. So I get the feeling he's going to stay.
I got to be honest with you, though. I don't have anything against Ten Hag. I just think it would be better for everybody. I think it's really just an awful, toxic situation over there. I'm not even holding the Manchester deal against him because, well, with the possible exception of bringing Anthony over, obviously that didn't work out very well. But I think it's just it's a real mess, and it's probably going to be a real mess for years to come. I think it'd be better for him to get another job, and I don't know if he can get another job in the Prem, but boy, I think United's kind of like has like the same problem Bayern has a really weird culture, and a lot of Chiefs, not a lot of Indians on the board. So I just think it would be better for everybody to let him go and maybe give a new guy a shot. But that's his choice. Me personally, I'm for getting rid of Ten Hag. Not that I have anything against the guy. It's just I think it'd be better for him. I'd like to see him succeed because he seems like a pretty good manager. Now to our main topic. God, I love that man's teeth. Main topic is, why can't Nicholas Fulk fix his teeth?
You would think on the money he's on.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of like it's like Czech's helmet. Czech's helmet. Like you didn't really need to wear it after a while. It's just kind of a signature. And I get the feeling that football players, especially with their hair, are really kind of into sort of displaying themselves. If you remember that interview Ronaldo did with it was a Spanish or Italian reporter where he snaps and says, "Let's get out of here," because they asked him, "Are you talking about the corruption scandal in FIFA?" And Ronaldo says, "No one's talking about it." He's like, "I don't like. What do you guys talk about?" He's like, "We talk about girls. We talk about cars. We talk about our hair." And the guy goes, "I don't believe you." And Ronaldo's like, "I'm out of here. I'm talking to this guy," which I don't blame him. Why interview him if you're not going to believe what he says, or listen to him? Maybe that's like Fulkrug's thing with his goofy tooth. He looks like it all. He looks like a guy I'm standing next to in the ultras part of the section in V spot. But they asked him something similar. Are they talking about the controversy with Manuel Neuer and ter Stegen? And he said exactly what I expect. And I believe him, because I don't think most players care about who's the goalie is. I don't think they think that much, especially a forward. I don't think they care, and I don't think that's their business, and I don't think management goes out of the way to say, "Hey, here's what we're going to do." I can't imagine Nagelsmann saying, "Hey, what does Nicholas Fulkrug think? Oh, wait a minute, he's not the manager. I don't care what he thinks." Is this a controversy that could potentially tear the team apart, and who do you think is going to get the job?
I don't think it is something that'll tear the team apart. I think the whole narrative between Manuel Neuer and ter Stegen has been a thing for a lot of years, because they've been two of the best goalkeepers in world football for many years. So naturally, you're always going to have the debate who should start, and it's always going to be a tough, close one because they're both so fantastic. But I think Germany will go the way they've always gone, with Manuel Neuer in there. He's been the guy for them for so many years. They've always trusted him. This is probably his last tournament as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that plays into it a little bit. Who knows? But yeah, I think Neuer gets the job. I don't think it's really a topic that'll tear up the team at all. I think it's more like a media thing.
The media's going wild over it. They're acting like it's a big deal. They could tear the whole team apart and blah, blah, blah. But maybe it's something they need to print articles about. There's also a reported tension between the two. I don't know if that's true. Me personally, I'd rather go with Neuer. I mean, it's not like since his injury after the World Cup when he was acting like a goofball and decided to ski when he wasn't supposed to. In my opinion, he owes Bayern money. It's not like he's played poorly since he's got back. In fact, I can kind of remember him making just last year he's still capable of making the amazing impossible save. I mean, he is. God, about the only time he can beat him. God, when was the last time he got beaten a free kick? I can't remember. You know, I mean, you have to almost walk it in to beat him. So I think that probably is the better choice. But if they're doing it just because, oh well, he's the guy that won the World Cup, that's stupid. You should, if whoever's in top form should get the job. And I don't. Yeah, I don't think this is as big a deal as the media thinks it is. I think they just need to print. But yeah, my vote's for Neuer as well. I wanted to think of this. I actually sat behind this guy a couple weeks ago. Fabian Hurzilla, 31 years old, born in Houston, Texas, strangely enough. Clearly not raised there. He can barely speak English. No, he speaks with a thick accent. St. Pauli coach not going to Brighton. Is that 100% confirmed yet?
I don't think it's 100% confirmed, but all the sources are saying it's like he's agreed to Brighton's terms, and Brighton and St. Pauli are like close to coming to an agreement over like compensation.
Wow.
So it's like very close to being done.
He's only 31 years old. We're seeing a lot of guys like Nagelsmann and stuff like that. I'm personally for this movement. I think one of the reasons that I've mentioned a few times in this podcast that, you know, teams like Schalke and Hamburg are down. I think there's a lot of sort of weird nepotism, not necessarily through direct relatives, but, you know, oh, it's Ali Khan's turn because he was a good goalie. So he gets to make decisions now. I get the feeling that that's what's hurt a lot of the bigger clubs that are in the second league in Germany. I am all for giving these younger, what I like to call football manager types, the job, and you know, I bring their kind of new way of looking at things into the game, because you know, Pep won't be the best forever. I think we can both agree on that. Somebody's going to figure something out eventually. It's just the natural order of things. I know you don't want to hear that. That's the natural order of things. It will happen one day. Somebody will figure them out. Maybe that guy down in Brazil that's playing that weird type of with Flamingo. I don't know what he's doing over there. Could change football. But I'm all about bringing these guys in and giving them a shot. And it's just tragic what happened to Nagelsmann. Are you comfortable with getting that's a pretty big jump, second league Germany to the Prem? Are you comfortable with that kind of jump for not necessarily him as an individual, as a 31-year-old? And then if you know anything about this guy more than I did, I mean, we're aware of his accomplishment. Like, yeah, I actually got to see him award the crown, like right on our grounds. Yeah, how do you feel about a guy that young, and how do you feel about the individual, if you know anything?
I don't know too much about him, to be fair. You've watched more of him than I have, really.
Yeah.
All I know is he won the league with St. Pauli, which, you know,
accomplishment.
It's promising, I suppose.
Sure.
And, you know, Brighton are a really well-run club. You know, you look at their signings and appointments over the past, 5-6 years, they've been one of the best-run clubs in the world, to be honest.
Yeah.
So if they're interested, then, you know, he probably is good, to be fair. I think...
Do they have Europe next year? Do they have Europe next year?
No, they finished just outside.
Yeah, then I'm a little more comfortable, because throwing a young coach like that right into Europe, that might be a little too much. But boy, last year they were excellent. But you know, go ahead. I was just wondering if he was going to Europe. I feel a little better about him if he doesn't have Europe. Not for Brighton, but just, you know, because Prem's gonna be tough enough. You know.
Oh yeah. You know, Prem is certainly a different ball game. I don't know how much of him being 31 will matter too much. You know, if it's at a club like Real Madrid, I certainly think that will play a part, because, you know, you've got these huge egos, you know, this huge history, like these huge expectations to win. You know, I think there's, you know, you put a 31-year-old into that dressing room at Real Madrid, and, you know, how are they going to take this guy seriously, right? Whereas I think Brighton is a completely different, ball game, where they're a club where they develop young talent. You know, they always have these young coaches with really interesting ideas. You know, they don't really have players with egos at Brighton. You have players who, you know, show a lot of talent and are trying to get up to the top of football sort of place. So I don't think his age will play too much of a part. I think it matters more at a club like Brighton what his ideas are like, how intelligent he is when it comes to football. And so I think as long as he's as good as Brighton think he is, I think he can certainly succeed at Brighton. I think it's a really good job, Brighton. I think a lot of people seem to downplay Brighton a bit, or not necessarily seem to think it's this huge job. But I think Brighton, if you're a young coach, I think Brighton is honestly the best job you could get in the world. I think their scouts are phenomenal. They're finding fantastic young players all the time. You know, they have Trossard leave, and then all of a sudden Matoma comes in, and he's just as good, if not better, already. And you know, they seem to do that all over the pitch. You know, they're really well run club, and they always do really well in the transfer market. And so I think if you're a young coach with some really interesting ideas, I think Brighton is a fantastic place to step in and sort of develop your ideas at a place where you're not necessarily going to have huge expectations, but you're going to have a lot of talent to sort of mold your team at your disposal. And then it's a fantastic place to sort of give yourself a step up to those bigger clubs if you do well there. So I think it's a really good opportunity for him. And, you know, I think if Brighton have chosen him to be the coach, then he's probably a good coach, and he's probably going to do well there.
This is, I guess, a little surprising, but I think we're going to see more of this, especially the growth of women's football. Sabrina Whitman, head of Ingolstadt. I'll be seeing her next year on the field in the third league. She's quite attractive. German girls are good looking. Let me tell you, they're good looking broads. She gets the head coach job for Ingolstadt. That's huge. And apparently, you know, it doesn't look like it was some kind of diversity hire or anything like that, which I'd be 100% against and would not be afraid to talk about. It looks like she earned her way to this job by winning with some of the under-19s and stuff like that. And again, you know, a 30-year-old, even in the third league and second league, you don't see coaches this young. This kind of a movement of young coaches in general are kind of harkening back to what I said before. Is this is obviously becoming a thing, right? Is it a good thing, though, that we're getting so many young coaches? Forget the fact that she's female for now. But I can imagine some people being a little uncomfortable with it. And if anything, Nagelsmann, it's not that he did anything uncoach-like. It's just he made the board uncomfortable because he liked to skateboard, you know, and that's what, you know, younger guys are going to do, younger types of activities. The youth coach movement, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it just DI run amok?
I think it's a good thing because, you know, it's always good to see young talent come through. We see it all the time with players, right? It's always a promising thing when your club signs a promising young player who could go on to be like this fantastic guy for your club. I think it's not necessarily any different for coaches. You know, I think young people always bring fresh ideas, you know, new ways of looking at things. You know, the established coaches that are around, you know, once they get to a certain point of their career, most of the time you sort of know that's their level, which, you know, can be fine for some clubs. Like if you're just looking to stay in the league because, you know, your squad's not that good for the league or you know, you're trying to avoid relegation, then, you know, a more established, experienced coach would make sense in that scenario because you sort of know what you're getting. They're a safer option, you know, they've got the experience, they're working with players, and that makes sense. But if you're striving to go further, you know, you hire a guy that's sort of been bounced around the league for half his career.
Or girl.
Now, yeah. You know, you're looking to get promoted. They're not really going to be an inspiring choice, are they? Because, you know, they've been bouncing around the league. That's their sort of their level. So why do you think they're going to push you forward? Why not give a young guy a go? You know, if they show if they show some really good ideas, you know, and they've got like the charisma or something about them, which shows that they could work as a leader of a team, I think, yeah, that's certainly a promising thing and something that clubs should really be looking at doing.
Mm.
In all honesty, you're seeing lots of great young coaches come through now. You look at like Xabi Alonso, what he's
Yeah.
doing at Bayer Leverkusen. Nagelsmann, obviously, he's a bit more established now, but he was a fantastic young coach coming through. Chelsea are taking a punt on Maresca. Arteta's first job as a manager was Arsenal, and he's done a fantastic job there. It's certainly something that can work, and so I think it's a good thing for football because
I think so too.
the more ideas coming in, the more perspectives, the more young people sort of coming in and building their craft as a coach, the more the game will evolve, really.
I think so
Because
too.
like Pep even talks, like people like De Zerbi came into the league and completely changed the way Pep saw some things.
Oh, really?
And that's, one of the greatest coaches ever established, been managing for years. And even he's getting like new ideas and seeing things differently from new coaches coming into the league. And so it sort of just like pushes everyone forward because even these established coaches can learn from some of the ideas that these younger coaches are going to bring through and incorporate them with what they already know works and maybe improve their own careers.
With my thing, I'm just going to talk about the elephant in the room with the female coach. I don't have a problem with the female coach, not even a little bit. My thing is, if you start screwing up as a coach, people say all sorts of horrible things about you. You guys say horrible things about Southgate every chance you get. Coaches get bashed. My concern is if she starts getting bashed, are we going to have like a media movement to shut everybody up and call everybody misogynist or something like that? That's the thing that concerns me. Is she beyond reproach because she's female? And I'm not saying, or does she have that? Is she an individual that uses that as a card? If that's not the case, I don't have an issue with this at all. I do have an issue with it if this is just a diversity hire. But it doesn't appear that way. She's won on lower levels of the club, so why not? I mean, I think it would be unreasonable for her to play, but not unreasonable to coach, especially if she's successful. Do you have any opinion on that, or are you a big pussy?
Right. My thing is like, obviously, yeah, if they're good enough, then we'll see it happening, right? If she does a fantastic job,
that's it.
Why not?
Yeah.
She's, and even if she fails, there's going to be other women in the future. Who knows? Like, it's completely uncharted territory for that. But as far as like the media try and shut people up, I think that matters more just about the social climate than football as a whole, really.
No, I don't think it's football, but football is definitely influenced by politics. I mean,
100%. That's what I think. It just comes down to like the social climate, really.
Yeah.
If everyone is in that direction where they're gonna shut you up because you're gonna be called a misogynist for wanting a woman sacked because she's doing a shit job, then what can you do? That's just the way people are at the moment.
Can I say she's hot?
Oh, I don't give a shit if you say it.
I think she's adorable. I'll be perfectly honest.
She might do it as well. Who knows? But
yeah, I think she's adorable. Oh, what's his face here? I can't remember this guy. He's the leader of
Hernandez.
Gucho Hernandez. He's the big guy, the face of the Columbus Crew. I don't know if you know this, but the Columbus Crew lost their Champions Cup final against Petruka, who handled them embarrassingly. We can beat the Mexican national team, but MLS does seem to have a problem getting over in Champions Cup, only having one Champions Cup winner ever, Seattle. They'll be going to the Club World Cup where they'll absolutely get wrecked. I'd rather see an LAFC or it would have been nice if it would have actually been nice if Messi and Miami could have got over there, but that's not the case. But here's the thing, Mr. Fernandez made a claim. I want to know what you think about it. He suggested that the team was poisoned, and everybody, because a bunch of guys got sick, which is true. That's 100% true, and he thinks they had something to do with it. I thought he was Mexican. I apologize. He said he's Colombian. Things roll differently in South America than they do in North America. And things are starting to roll in North America like they done in South America for reasons I won't get into. Is this sour grapes? or is this something to be concerned about? Because there's no evidence. In fairness, there's nothing. And Pachuca played amazing, but they had a lot of guys with the flu bug, and I'm sure that played a role into it. It's really unfortunate considering Columbus's big defeat over LAFC. Chiellini was there. They had the whole defense, and Columbus cut them down in the final last year. Any opinions? You got any guts?
I mean, my initial reaction is to call bullshit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's just like the gut reaction to something to hear something like that. Like, oh yeah, it's just conspiracy nonsense, right? He's just chatting a load of shit because he lost.
It's not USA. That's the thing that gets me.
Who fucking knows, right? It just really reminds me of Lasagna Gate over here in England.
Explain Lasagna Gate to me. How did that go?
Well, it was back in like 2006.
Yeah.
Tottenham needed to match Arsenal's result to get into the Champions League spots.
Mm-hmm.
And the day before that they were due to play their last game of the season, 10 players suddenly were ill, couldn't play. Spurs tried to have the game rearranged, but it was too late, so the Premier League were like, no, we can't do that. And so they ended up threatening to. They ended up losing the game, right, and didn't make top 4. So obviously missed out Champions League, huge thing for them.
Sure.
Arsenal made the Champions League, and then Spurs threatened to sue the hotel chain. They were kicking off in the Premier League. They were got the police involved.
Really?
They, had tests on the food and stuff like that. It was this big thing because 10 players got ill, and they basically tried to blame it on the food.
Was it sour grapes back then? Was it sour grapes back?
Yeah, it was, because they did tests and there was no poison, and it turned out they were they had some virus or whatever in the end.
So it just was bad luck.
But another part of it was Arsenal were staying in another hotel really close by, so they were oh, Arsenal have bloody poisoned the lasagna at the hotel, so all the players got injured so that they'd lose and Arsenal could win. And in the end, it just turned out to be a load of shit. It was just a virus they had. It was just unlucky.
I think the overwhelming odds of the situation, it's probably sour grapes. It's a tough loss. A lot of people expected Columbus to do better. I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't want to completely dismiss it, because I fear when you dismiss stuff like that. Let's say this wasn't. Let's say it didn't happen. Okay. And then everybody just kind of dismisses it outright. I think it opens the gate for people to say, well, they're just going to, even if, and no one's going to believe it because the media is going to go out and say it's a bunch of sour grapes. I worry about that, but I think overwhelming odds are it's not legitimate. But yeah, tough loss for Columbus, man. Real tough loss. And last one, because you're a Pep man. Pep Guardiola has rejected the idea of returning to Barcelona. It's a door that is closed. Why is this even coming up? I mean,
there's a lot of talk of Pep Guardiola leaving Manchester City in a year, so naturally people are going to ask, is he going to go back to Barcelona? Because it's just the natural question people are going to think, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know the reason he left in the first place necessarily. It took a sabbatical after he left Barcelona the first time around. But yeah, coming out and saying that's a door that's closed is pretty definitive to be that's never happening, He could have easily said, oh, you never know what's going to happen in the future. It's a club that I have a lot of fond memories at, so who knows? To just leave things open, but to just come out flat out and be that door's closed, that shit's not happening I don't know. It makes me question why he left in the first place.
Yes.
And what's stopping him from going back there, because he played there for so many years as a player. Obviously he's Catalonian, so would have been a big fan of him most likely growing up, worked there. They gave him his start in management at the B side, and then gave him the first team job, had all that success there, to then just not even be open, or at least have the courtesy to be oh, you never know what'll happen.
Is he friends with Messi? Does he have a relationship with Messi?
I assume so, yeah. Yeah, they basically came through together. It was like
Yeah.
Messi had like just sort of broken onto the scene, and then he
Yeah.
went superstar under Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. So I just wondered, like, Messi wasn't when Messi made his MLS decision. They put out a press release that was really condescending. Barcelona. I'll paraphrase. It was like, well, I guess Messi really he wants to have a slower life and make it easy, and we wish him all the luck, because he's a big pussy and doesn't want to play for a big club anymore, and just wants to collect his money. It was really, really condescending. It was kind of a sneak diss, if you ask me. I wonder if that's in with Barcelona's kind of corruption issues. I wonder if he got a taste of that on the way out the door, the way some of his friends have been treated since. Barcelona doesn't have the class that it used to when I first moved here to Europe. They're acting like more of a mid-table team nowadays, at least the way it's been run. And I know they're doing a lot of things to fix it, and the name, the colors. I mean, it's to me it's the most iconic jersey in football. I think they're not as bad as United, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like they're not as great as they used to be, for sure. And then Messi getting shown the door because of economics, and Frankie de Jong being told 2 years ago you got to take less money. Yeah, why would we want to go there? I think that's, if I had to guess, it's probably it might even come down to something as simple as money. They're going to give me less money, and they're going to tell me, "But you're at Barcelona, really? No, I'm here to make money." Professional coach. That's what I wonder about. I guess I was thinking about bitching about the Red Bulls. We don't have breaks in the States. There's 100 players missing for either the Copa America or the Euros. 100 players. So we ended up playing the Revolution, who's been struggling ever since the whole Bruce Arena incident last year, and they ended up beating us in the 80th minute, 1-0. Dominic Vencier, he was expected to step up. He started the season off real strong, but I'm looking out there and I'm like, oh, that's last year Vencier. and they ended up losing when, right after NYCFC's on a hot streak, and although they did win right afterwards, just earlier, about 2 weeks ago, Atlanta beat Messi. I don't even call them by their name, Inter Miami, which really, I mean, and then we get a call. We Lewis Morgan's going to play for Scotland, and he's been banging him in for us. So there's some talk of they should do something for teams that have summer leagues, like FIFA should pause stuff, but I don't see a way to do that, especially with Leagues Cup. Can't stop the whole league. I think it's just the downside of running a summer league. Do you have any input on that? I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with your last bit there. I think that's just the downsides of being a summer league. Like, what can you do other than stop the league and then completely push everything forward?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
you have to do it every
that's really
2 years.
Is it?
You'd have to do it every 2 years as well. And I think it's also, and I think it also speaks to the quality of the MLS. There's so many more internationals in MLS. That's kind of a thing. But I think that's, if you're an MLS coach, you got to figure, I'm going to lose guys. This is a part of the job, so we have to, be able to make do and things of that nature. I like the fact that it's summer league. I know some people disagree with me, but I don't think you can play in Minnesota in January. It's just not happening. And I don't know if there's much you can do about it. I'm a little surprised.
You see a similar thing in the Premier League when AFCON happens. Like, Liverpool obviously have struggled in the past with like Mane and Salah going
it's true.
to AFCON. So
in Asia Cups and stuff like that,
exactly. So it's not like it's exclusive to them. Like, obviously, it's a bigger scale because Euros and Copa America is huge, and so there's going to be a lot more players. But yeah.
It's part of the game.
It's just the way it is, right?
Part of the game. Thank you very much, Bart, being a part of the Glory Hunters bi-weekly podcast. I don't know if we're going to be doing it Monday and Friday going forward as much because everything that's going on. But we'll definitely try to get one podcast for you a week. You know, this is party time in Europe, and we won't take advantage of it. We're definitely going to take advantage of it. So, hey, Glory Hunters is a community project. You're welcome to join by joining our Discord. That's where everything really happens. Earn our trust. If you want to make content, shorts, FIFA content, Football Manager content, I don't care if you're doing match tags. And if you can do what Nick does right here, maybe you can do it better. I don't know. I'll fire him, sure. You know, and that's all we got for the Glory Hunters, and we'll see you soon.